All right. Hello, Renata. How are
Hello.
you? I think a lot of people are using the internet too much, so it's a little, it's a little bound up right now. But thank you for agreeing to be on the Dare to Be Vital. I don't know what I call this yet, but I'm thinking it might be called a Zoomcast. But I really appreciate your time, and I think we're just going to jump right into it. And if you could just introduce yourself a little bit about who you are and what you do, and maybe just a little bit about how we interacted with the Michigan Alumni Association.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me to be part of your videocast. So my name is Renata Gomide. I'm from Brazil. I moved to the Bay Area 4 years ago. I did my MBA in the University of Michigan, and I'm
Lovely.
part of, yeah, that was like 2011, like yesterday. And I'm part of the alumni club here. I'm the board of the alumni club. So that's how we met. So Alan presented in one of our events last month. So for work, I'm a consultant, strategy and operations consultant, working with tech companies here in the Bay Area. And I also have a blog called Ideas for Divas.
Ideas for Divas. I like that. Well, you're, I think, one of the best people to ask, how can you best thrive, not just survive during the coronavirus crisis? So, first of all, what challenges are you facing personally or professionally? And then how are you dealing with them?
I think the first one is not being able to fully exercise. I exercise every day as part of my routine. So I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym, and then I go to the yoga end of the day. And none of this is really happening, right? My gym is closed in the building. My yoga studio also closed. So for a couple of days, I was feeling terrible until I tried to really regain my routine. So I started waking up and jumping into doing exercise at home. So I have like TRX and some rubber bands, and I'm using some apps like Peloton to do yoga end of the day. So I'm trying to keep my routine, but that has been what has affected me the most because during my normal life, I'm able to work from home, what I usually don't do because I just like to get out of the house and walk to the office and see people. So it's been an adjustment for sure.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges that people are facing right now is, trying to figure out how to do a reasonable exercise program. And I think one of the things that's also been lost is the community of the people you see at the gym or in your yoga class. Just a little high five or a little, hey, how you doing, Renata? I know I missed that with the people I work out with or around at the gym that I go to in Palo Alto. So I'm not sure how to replace that. That's a big one. I have been out hiking a bunch. How about from a work perspective? I think you're an expert in trying to innovate. So we're in a time where a lot of things are being disrupted. What's going on for that in terms of how you're executing with work, or what do you think might be coming out at the other end of this crisis?
So again, for my team, we are used to work remotely, so it hasn't been that disruptive. We already have the tools in place to work remotely. I still think that we are used to go to the office and still meet in person, so like this is missing. Um, I feel that people, at least in my team, they're working like longer hours,
Hmm.
but I don't think that this is related to productivity,
Oh,
um,
interesting.
right? So I think that we are trying to innovate and do like different projects. I think that all the companies are thinking about how they can help with the corona situation in different means, right? So like as I work with consultant, we are trying to think about solutions and how can we help different institutions to go through this crisis. So I think that there's a lot of creativity going on, a lot of ideation, a lot of innovation. So I see this is actually surprising for me. We are definitely not business as usual. We are more excited to do something to help what is happening right now. Um, Moving forward, I my personally, I'm like a little bit concerned with what's happening with the markets right now. So we see the
Right.
stock market just dropping and dropping. I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't have the answer to what's going to happen next. I think that right now the companies really want to protect their employees, make sure that they have what they need to execute their jobs and to be safe in first place. But I think that there will be changes in the near future.
Yeah,
So
it certainly
hopefully,
seems like a lot of industries are being disrupted. And I think it's very difficult for people to understand what's going to happen in the next, not just week or month or maybe year or so. It's going to change across a variety of platforms. I think there's great opportunity, and I think it's really in the midst of adversity there are amazing opportunities. And thank you again for doing this. That's one of the reasons why I want people to be exposed to the many amazing people in my network, you included. So when you try to figure out maybe your personal social situation, I know that's one that's really impacted me is I miss seeing my friends. Like I really enjoy seeing my friends, and we held a virtual cocktail hour last weekend, which was kind of fun for people across the country I hadn't seen in a while. But do you have any other ideas? Are you connecting with your friends in unique ways or on different platforms?
yeah. So because my family lives in Brazil, right? So FaceTime is already part of my
Yeah,
routine. But right now, I feel that I need to be more in touch with them. So I'm connecting with my mom instead of once a day, like 3 times a day. I want to make sure that she's fine because she's also very active. She works out every day and her gym is also closed. So I want to make sure that her mental health is in place, right? That
yeah,
she's okay staying home, and I want to make sure that everybody's safe. So we have in Brazil it's very popular to talk on WhatsApp, and we have like a family group. So I've been way more active in my family group and making sure that my aunts are 60 years old, that my cousins are not also like running around because they still live together. So I'm really concerned right now
yeah.
about their safety there. So the measurements that Brazil is taking is kind of similar, maybe some steps behind the US, but people are supposed to stay home. So FaceTime and WhatsApp. So I also have some other groups with my friends from different areas of my life, some of them from Michigan, many of them from Michigan actually in different groups. So that's where we share experiences, and some of them are different areas of the country, different parts of the world. So they're all sharing like what's happening and how their lives are changing. Definitely missing human contact right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so but like I think that FaceTime and WhatsApp are my big allies right now.
Actually, you hit on something I really didn't think about. So you just said that, Renata. The human contact isn't just like, hey, I can't see you in person. It's I can't touch your shoulder. I can't give you a hug. If somebody comes a little too close to you in the grocery store, you start to, back away. I think, wow, that's a massive thing that we're going to have a lot of difficulty making up for because right now, we should be socially distancing, but I think as humans we crave that physical contact or at least closeness with somebody else. And I really don't know how to replace that. That's a real big problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think that the inability to travel.
Yeah.
So for me right now, even though I didn't have any plans to go to Brazil this month, like I was there in December, right? But I feel that I'm not able to go and they are not able to come. So this
Right.
for me is another burden, right? That people are not able to move around to go see other people. So if your family or your friends they need you, you may not be able to be there. So I try not to think about this, but I think that is something that it's around my mind because we are not even thinking about this, right? It's the freedom that we used to have to go wherever. to
Mhm.
be with whoever we wanted to. It's not, and it's for a good cause. We need to stay inside, but it's also hard
Right.
to.
And I think that subconscious inability to connect with other people is really important. That we don't, I guess I don't think about it every minute, but you're right. If I wanted to, and I had to cancel a trip I had planned to go give a lecture in Cambridge in England, and I have a lot more time on my hands, which I'm not used to, which is a good thing. It's allowed me to do things like what we're doing right now. But you're right, that freedom to go where we want to go and see people we want to see is presently gone. Well, I mean, I suppose we could do it, but it's not a good idea. And I think, especially as the cases here in the United States are accelerating, it's crucial not to do that. But I think this will end. I do, I think I'm a congenital optimist. So I'm hoping this isn't going to be too long, but that uncertainty for however long it's going to be, weeks or maybe months before we have some restoration of that physical contact with our friends and family and that ability to travel, psychologically is impacting us. And I think of people like you as being very resilient, very accomplished, but I worry about people who sometimes maybe don't have as much resilience. And maybe that's the last thing I would ask you is, I think this is really boosting my personal resilience to try and figure out how to do this. We're very uncomfortable and uncertain right now, but
Mhm.
surviving being uncomfortable and uncertain later, I think, will boost our resilience. So maybe that's wrong, but I think of that as a positive.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that uh, it has been a time that I've been kind of battling with my mind sometimes, right? Because I've been trying not to let the whole situation stress me out more than needed. Sometimes it's really hard to control. So before the whole situation, I thought I was great. I was doing meditation. I understand what my body's doing, but it's not. And sometimes I feel like my stomach's feeling funny, and I'm like, but why is that, right? So why is that? Maybe I'm stressed because I read a news or I saw some pictures coming from Italy or something like that, and my subconscious is thinking about my family and other things, right? So it is really hard, and I feel that I'm very good at it, as you were talking about. So I imagine people who are not. So I know when I should stop looking at my phone, and I should stop looking at the news and should try to do something fun,
Right.
right? Stupid thing. But some people are going over and over on this, and I really, it concerns me about like mental health, right, of people, like people close to me and even people who are not that close to me, and how this can affect society,
And I
right?
think you told me you're doing something though, with spending a little more time on your blog, and maybe let's finish with how you can use the time you have and that energy that you have into something that you've been passionate about.
Yes, definitely. I think that your talk was something that just sparked on me that I should be thinking about my peak purpose. And I've been doing my blog for a couple of years now, but I think that right now I'm thinking like, what should I do next, in terms of like make sure that I reach more people, right? Because the reason why I started writing a blog is really to help people to find balance. Something I was struggling with some time ago. We talk about like work-life balance and wellness and focus on mindfulness, but how can you make this work, right? So I started finding some strategies for myself, and I started like sharing this. But I really want to take it to the next level in terms of like reach more people. So happy to be talking to you. Maybe I should be doing Zoom calls in my blog too,
A
and
hundred percent.
helping
So
some
one of the
people.
things I think is coming out of this is, well, I'm calling it right now, Dare to Be Vital with Allan Mishra, and you're actually number two. So episode 2 here, but I can see how we are going to be able to do this on and gather a group of people with disparate skills to help people, because I don't know anything about what you just described, and I think that's a massively important thing for people to figure out how to have that work-life balance and specific actionable ways to do that. So Renata, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I'm really looking forward to continuing our conversation both online and offline. And we can talk more about how to do something maybe for the University of Michigan Alumni Association in the near future. But thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and best to you and your family.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be here on your channel. And I hope that we are going to do another event in person soon.
That's awesome. Very good. Take care, Renata. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thank
Bye.
you.